Welcome to episode 61 of Fountaincast, a bi-weekly podcast brought to you by the Fountain Hills Chamber of Commerce, striving to be your one-stop fountain of information regarding your local business community here in Fountain Hills. I'm your host, Templeton-Haislip. Be sure to stay tuned after the podcast to hear about upcoming chamber events. In today's episode, I'm speaking with Amanda Jacobs with the Town of Fountain Hills, Economic Development Developer. Amanda joined the Town of Fountain Hills in 2022 and has over 19 years experience in local government. She earned a bachelor's degree in business management in 2005 and a master's degree in business administration in 2007 from the University of Phoenix. She is even a certified Lean Six Sigma Black Belt. Welcome, Amanda, to the show.
Thank you, Jill. I'm happy to be here.
Oh, it's so exciting. So welcome first off to Fountain Hills.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about what brought you to our beautiful little town.
So what brought me here was I was looking for a change. So I was with my last employer for more than 19 years.
Wow.
And then just during the recession, like everybody, there was that time right to reflect, am I happy? Are my values still aligned? And I needed a change. And then this opportunity popped up, and then just looking at the town of Fountain Hills, the community, the values, it was in alignment with what I was looking for.
Good. It was good timing. Everything kind of fell into line.
The stars aligned.
That's great. Good. So you were in Oro Valley before here.
That is correct.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about what you did.
So with Oro Valley, I actually started as a part-time clerk receptionist.
Okay.
And I love bringing that up because at the same time as I started there, I was getting my bachelor's and knew I wanted to pursue my master's, and was just very upfront with the town that I wanted to do more than just be a receptionist. And so through my career, I worked in public works for a couple of years. Then I moved on to work with our mayor and council. At one point, it was a 5-member council, and it expanded to 7.
Wow.
So there was an opportunity to work with them, work with our boards and commissions. And then as the council and the town manager knew I was getting my bachelor's and master's in business administration, there was an opportunity in economic development. And so that's where I spent more than 10 years working on business attraction and retention and marketing of our innovation park, which was our bioscience corridor in Oro Valley.
Wow.
And then the last couple of years in Oro Valley, I spent on lean process improvement and strategic planning, which is important, right? We need to have a roadmap as we're looking to plan for the future.
Wow. That is very impressive.
Thank you.
How do you decide that this is the career path for you? How do you get involved in working for the town?
So one is I love helping people and then making a positive difference. And I found in local government, at the local level, you can make more of a difference. There's less barriers, when you look at the state and federal, and it just became a passion of mine.
That's great.
Thank you.
So tell us exactly what is economic development. Kind of dive into a little bit deeper for those of us who aren't super familiar with what does that entail?
So economic development could mean a lot to different people, but really in simplest terms, it's the well-being and quality of life of a community. Okay. And that, of course, differs from each community. It's not a one-size-fits-all, right? Communities have different demographics, different size and square miles, a different population, and so that's really what economic development is.
Okay.
Well-being and quality of life of a community.
So now take us that next step further. What does your role entail? How do you kind of take all of that and make Fountain Hills even better?
Yeah, so my role is working on business attraction. And so when we say that, it's looking at, okay, what industries are we attracting? What industries should we be attracting? And really looking at what is currently here and what are opportunities And there's lots of opportunities, not just with some of the vacant parcels and vacancies of square footage, but also as we look to the north of the state land. There's plenty of opportunity for growth there. It's also business retention. So the attraction can be a bit sexy, right? Trying to get new people. But with retention is people have already made an investment. And so far, talking to a lot of the businesses, they're mom and pops, like they're starting their dream. And so making sure that we understand as a town, we're meeting their needs so that we keep them here, but also if they have plans to expand.
Oh, wow. That's great. Obviously, here at the Chamber of Commerce, we are business driven as well. So you're definitely speaking our language. I know that we recently have been working on a partnership together. Do you want to go ahead and share with our viewers and listeners a little bit about what that looks like?
Yeah, sure. So in June, the town and the Chamber partnered to launch a formal business retention and expansion program. And so we find again that over 80% of your existing businesses, they're the ones who expand. So sometimes, right, we're looking across the state, the United States, the country to attract, but we should be looking at, again, our existing businesses who are here. And so the goal is to try to meet with a couple of businesses twice a week. And so it's your president, CEO, Betsy, as well as myself. And then we're including a rotating council member. And that's a little bit different than what some economic development agencies like to do. But I like to include an elected official because oftentimes what we hear from our businesses is that there's issues at a policy level. And so it's wonderful for our elected officials to hear from the businesses, from their mouth, how we can improve a policy and our overall business climate.
I can imagine you guys have been getting really good response. Businesses have to enjoy the fact that you guys are taking the time to come directly to them and hear from them.
Yeah, so with some, they've been a little bit hesitant, right? I think when the government comes in, it's like,
sure.
it's more of, oh, what do we do now? Or what do you want? And then after the hour or 90 minutes of chatting, they're very supportive and just overall wow, we actually have the chamber, the economic developer, and a council member here spending time, right? It's an investment, an hour's time, 30 minutes, even 5 minutes, that's an investment of time. But to spend about 60 to 90 minutes with them, and they can tell us anything. Nothing's, off the table. They've really appreciated it.
I love that it's one-on-one. It's not let's get a bunch of businesses together. It's let's talk to you and hear from you. That's extremely impactful.
Yes. Yep, agreed.
You are also a member of the Arizona Association for Economic Development, International Economic Development Council, and Arizona City and County Management. That seems very high level. So tell us a little bit, what do all of these memberships do for your role that then in turn help the town of Fountain Hills?
So speaking of the economic development one, so AAED, that is the statewide economic development organization. And then the International Economic Development Council is international, so you're dealing with leaders from across the United States as well as the country. And so what's beneficial with that is not just the networking, but to understand some of the best practices. And then they each offer continuing education. So again, let's just take, I hate talking about it, COVID, but before COVID, you heard about the Amazon effect. Then we had the pandemic. And so with that, businesses is changing before our very eyes. And so it's nice to stay up on those trends. And then sometimes, communities can be a little bit nervous to be the first, to start a trend. And so to see, okay, who's doing this right? I have this idea, but who's actually doing it right and learning from? And then so at the Arizona City County Management, that is mostly county, city, town managers, assistant town managers. You'll see some economic development directors involved. And then so what's important with that, again, is sort of that networking, also growing your career. So I'm interested in maybe advancing my career more to the, just economic development. And then also at that, again, high level, when you're talking about, a city or town manager, just being able to get together statewide and hear what's happening with the various communities and again, learning from them.
Wow, that's great. Can you share with us, and maybe you can't, but I figured I'd ask for our viewers and listeners, can you give us any idea of what your vision is coming new into Fountain Hills? You haven't been here yet a year, right? You started, was it?
So I've been here almost 5 months.
Okay, so what are your thoughts? What do you want to see for Fountain Hills?
Well, so one, I want to make sure either this fall or definitely in January, we're getting together as a community and developing an economic development strategy.
Oh, okay.
I feel like oftentimes, right, we do it alone. Like, I got this, but who knows the community better than me? I've only been here, 5 months, but is our community. So getting stakeholders together, really understanding our strengths and our weaknesses, looking at, okay, what industry should we be going after? Looking at our downtown, and then start gaining some insight as to ideas and checking the pulse of, okay, there's a huge opportunity with the state land, as I mentioned earlier. What does the community want to see?
Mm-hmm.
And then also looking at some of the vacant parcels. Mm-hmm. Just a vision there is partnering with developers, brokers, seeing if we can reimagine some of the sites, actually put together samples to get people excited, right? Sometimes when you see a raw piece of dirt, it's hard to imagine what it can be. Mm-hmm. And so putting pen, to paper, what could some of that look like to get people excited?
So you were mentioning that it's getting other people involved. So is this something that residents are going to be able to have a voice in as well?
Yes, so absolutely. So residents, businesses, community leaders such as, the chamber, Rural Metro, our different foundations, which we have, tons of community organizations, making sure that they're involved.
It's extremely important. I think it's great that you are new to Fountain Hills and you have a fresh set of eyes to look around. Sometimes when we see the same thing all the time, we just kind of, take advantage of that, and you can say, hey, but what about this? Oh, well, yeah, I guess, so I think it's good to incorporate all of that in your fresh and wise here.
And then I think it helps with buying, right? Because you're giving other people a seat at the table, mm-hmm. and allowing us to hear their voice.
If residents have questions or they want to see how they can get better involved, or businesses, really anybody, how would they go about getting in touch with you?
So I always say email is best, because as your economic development director, I am running around and I want to make sure I am responsive. And so my email is ajacobs@fountainhillsaz.gov.
Perfect.
So feel free to email me at night, over the weekend. I will respond.
And you can always find Amanda's email address both on the Chamber's website as well as if you go to the Town of Fountain Hills website as well. So outside of business, tell us a little bit about what types of things do you enjoy doing for fun?
So what I like to do for fun is, one, I love spending time with family. I have a huge family, so whether that's doing some axe throwing, bowling, going to the movies, I have a blast. And I have teeny tiny cousins that are 2 years old to 7 years old. And so just running around, going to the park, doing arts and crafts. I love it. I also love to dance.
Oh, okay.
Jill, don't ask me to dance. So love to dance, and then I'm a huge bookworm.
Okay.
I have been a bookworm all my life.
What book are you reading right now?
So right now I'm reading the newest James Patterson called Shattered.
Is it pretty good?
It is good.
Okay. We'll have to have you start up a book club so that people can spend more time with you. So in your introduction, we talked about you being a Lean Six Sigma black belt. You didn't touch on that at all. Why don't you share a little bit about that?
Sure. So the Lean Six Sigma black belt. So some people have actually thought it was black belt in karate.
I was kind of hoping it was.
I know. So some are joking and then are like, hiya! But no, it is not that. So really what it is it's process improvement.
Okay.
And some people get scared of this, but it's eliminating waste. And so what we mean is it's not people, we're trying to eliminate, but it's eliminating steps in a process that really create no value for the customer. And then, so it's not just looking internally, but externally, like we're doing with some of these business retention site visits. It's what is valuable to our businesses, our residents, what is not, and how can we eliminate some of that waste so that we're being more responsive, things are happening sooner.
Interesting. So not karate, which we were all hoping.
I know, I'm so sorry.
That's all right. So what would you say is your favorite part of your job? It sounds like there's a lot of different fun things. I mean, I love going to visit other businesses, so that seems really fun to me, but you have so many different parts that you do. What is your favorite part of your role?
Well, so one thing that's my favorite is one day is not the same. So I love that, going into each day. And my favorite too, Jill, you hit it, is meeting with the businesses, because it's creating those partnerships, it's getting to know our businesses, who are also too, most of the time as well, residents in the community, and then just hearing what issues they're facing. And so hearing that different perspective. So starting to meet, with some of the restaurants, yes, you hear about, the inflation, supply chain, but they can get into the nitty gritty of what is impacting them as a business. And so I think that is great to hear. Some of this we don't have control over, but some things we do. So some of the newer businesses where this is their second career, they used to be in corporate America, and now they're starting their dream, to be able to hear how we can improve that process, I think goes back to, again, why you even do this in the first place, is making that positive difference in the community.
Yes. Well, we are very excited for you to be in town. I've already seen you make some good improvements and really show that you care about Fountain Hills and the businesses, and it's just wonderful to see. I know we really enjoy working with you. Is there anything else you would like to share with our viewers and our listeners today while we wrap up our Fountain Cast?
Yeah, I just want our community to know that, again, I'm here to listen. If they have any thoughts, any issues, concerns, to please reach out. I'm still learning the community. I think, again, we've got a good handle on some of the business retention, and then really starting to focus on the business attraction part.
Wonderful. Share your email address one more time with us.
So it's ajacobs@fountainhillsaz.gov.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for the opportunity.
My pleasure. That will wrap up episode 61 of Fountain Cast. And once again, thank you so much for listening to today's episode. Don't forget to share our show with friends, neighbors, clients, anyone in your network. And please be sure to like, rate, and review our show wherever you listen to your podcasts. A new feature of our podcast is you can now watch the video on the Chamber's YouTube channel. Amanda Jacobs is excited to be in Fountain Hills and support our local businesses and residents. Now for upcoming Chamber events. Pre-sale tickets for Oktoberfest are already on sale. Get your tickets for half price up until September 4th. Chamber Lunch Mob is Friday, August 26th at 11:30, meeting On the Avenue. Be sure to check the Chamber's website for more details on all of our events. As today's host, Jill Haislip, thank you, Fountain Hills, for continuing to be the best community. That's a wrap. You did great job.
Oh, thank you.
Great job.
I know, I was like, Jill, I'm starting to sweat.